This film looks at the case of missing Bristol student Jack O'Sullivan. At the time of his disappearance, Jack was 22 years old. He went on a night out in Bristol on St David's Day, Friday the 1st of March 2024. He was identified on CCTV footage in the early hours of Saturday morning. At the time of making this film, December 2025, no evidence of Jack or any item of property which is known he had on him that evening has ever been located. As I walked from Exeter to St David's train station, the short distance to the university, I noticed my phone maps telling me to start on Brunel Close. I thought that was a coincidence, seeing as Jack was last seen on Brunel Lock Road area in Bristol. As I followed the route, 3 more strange coincidences were glaring me in the face. I was walking up St David's Hill. Jack was last seen on St David's Day. Then a Wetherspoons Pub, also a part of Jack's disappearance. And if that wasn't enough, the road facing me was named Hotwells Road. It was almost shouting Hotwells to me. It was here at the University of Exeter, Streatham campus, that Jack studied history. He shared his accommodation with another young man, Greg, and they became good friends. In fact, 2 weeks before Jack disappeared, he had travelled to Exeter and met up with Greg. Exeter University is widely acknowledged as one of the most beautiful, set in extensive acres of grounds with woodlands, gardens, lakes and historical buildings, several hundred acres. A very relaxed environment in which students study, socialise, nurture relationships and advance their careers. After graduating in history, Jack moved back to the family home, living with his mum and dad in the Bristol area. In Bristol, Jack enrolled on a law conversion course at Bristol University. He studied at the Wills Memorial Building, which is located at the top of Park Street, in the affluent area of Clifton. I believe his mum works in the area, and his brother, Ben, also lives in Clifton. Jack quickly settled into his new course. This university is highly ranked for the tuition in law. Students can opt to specialise in various areas of law, including LLB, banking and finance, commercial law and criminology. Bristol, like most cities, has a vibrant social nightlife, accommodating the many thousands of students who attend from all over the world. Jack's family home is located at Flaxbourton, a small village with a population of just over 700 residents, and is situated approximately 6 miles southwest of Bristol city centre. This is the road leading from Jack's family home in Flaxbourton down to the main road where at 8:20 p.m. on Friday the 1st of March 2024, so Friday the 1st of March, which was St David's Day, Jack caught the 8:20 p.m. bus into Bristol city centre to meet up with some friends. Travelling into Bristol city centre alone, Jack had arranged to meet 2 girls and 1 lad at the popular V-Shed Wetherspoons Pub, and the plan was that they would spend a few hours there having drinks. At 10:45 p.m, Jack texted his mother saying that they had moved to a house party in Hotwells Road. He further stated, "All good, keys are safe." That reference was to his car keys. Okay, so this is the location in Hotwells Road where Jack was at the party. He came out of the building here. He was on this pavement here, right in front of me where I am now. Came out into the middle of the road and jumped in a taxi. And he was told that the taxi was booked for someone else. So he immediately got out of the taxi and it's unexplainable then really why having just left the party, onto this pavement, out into the road, just where the taxi was, having been told that it's booked for someone else, that he's actually walked down to what I call the graffiti area, just off Brunel Lock Road, which is a highly dangerous area at any time of day, but particularly at sort of 3 o'clock in the morning. So let's see how long it would take Jack to walk from here to where he was positively sighted on CCTV camera at 2:53 in the morning, which was on the Swing Bridge, which is not far, it's around the corner to my right hand side. So let's time it now and see how we go. So here's the stopwatch. Off we go. So he would have walked this route. There's a bit of traffic around today, certainly very noisy. So he walks round this way. Ironically, that place across the road there, if you see the bus stop, during the daytime, the X1 service would take you to the village of Flaxbourton, which is where Jack is from. But of course, at 3 o'clock in the morning, the buses weren't running. So we're now on Merchants Road. So we come up here. So far it's taken us 1 minute and 11 seconds. This area, like a lot of Bristol, seems to be flats, multi-occupancy dwellings. In front of me there on the lamppost is a missing poster of Jack. I won't stop because we're doing this as a timing exercise. There's the bridge. It's known as the Swing Bridge, right in front of me over there. At the moment, you can see the timing. Let's see if we can get across the road. Okay, where there's paper on the bridge, that's just about where Jack was photographed. It was at this point that Jack was photographed. And we now come to stop here, and the time is 3 minutes. 3 minutes exactly to this point. And it's the camera right over there that can be spotted up there, which was the camera that picked Jack up on CCTV.
Morgan.
At that point over there. So it's an interesting exercise. And the question now remains that he could not have left the party at 2:53 in the morning. And even more concerningly, apparently somebody witnessed him leave at that time. He couldn't have left at that time if the CCTV image here, timed at 2:53, is actually reliable. If it's not reliable. The only way that it would not be reliable is if the actual timing on the system was set incorrectly. But it was 2:53 here, and that at the moment appears undisputable.
But anyway, went to London. Yeah. So we're outside the venue here where Jack was at the party. He comes out into the street, jumps into a taxi, and he's told the taxi's booked for someone else, so he gets out straight away. And what I want to do now is to satisfy myself that I haven't made a mistake with the timings. But by my calculation, it takes no more than 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes at the very most, to walk from here round to where Jack was captured on CCTV imaging.
At 8 minutes past 3 in the morning, almost 9 minutes past 3, round at the graffiti area.
So let's start it on the stopwatch and see how it goes. So again, just coming round into Hotwells Road, the same as we did before when we were doing the test walk from the party venue up to the Swing Bridge. So again, this is the route that Jack would have walked. Swing Bridge is up ahead of us there. Almost at the Swing Bridge. See if we can risk crossing. Okay.
Almost once again at the swing bridge here. So a reminder, this was the point that he was picked up at 2:53 a.m. by that camera over there. It's a cold enough day today, although the sun is out. It was extremely cold at the time Jack went out on St David's Day. So the camera that picked Jack up is over there on that building, just over there. That picked Jack up, and he was on this side of Brunel Lock Road. I think he was picked up somewhere by these railings, these chains. The camera down there. So he proceeds to walk down here. Because there are people in front of me on the pavement, I'm going to walk out in the road. Won't make any difference to the timings. We go over this way. Now perhaps we'll wander back again. Prepare to cross over here. Continue through the car park. Timings at the moment. And then Jack would have crossed the road here. Sorry about that, I'm trying to film this one-handed and it's rather windy, a little bit difficult. So we're at 6:35 now, and it's just round the corner, literally by here, that Jack was photographed. He was photographed here. So that, according to me, is 6 minutes 52 seconds. Almost 6 minutes 53 seconds to the point where he was picked up by camera that is just straight ahead of me. I think the big question now is that the difference in timings, that I've obviously discovered, and I don't believe anybody else since Jack has disappeared has actually discovered.
A crucial aspect to advancing this case concerns Jack's mobile phone, what happened to it, and where it is now. What most people do not know, the mobile was in very poor condition. The screen smashed and the phone only vibrated. It is not capable of ringing. It is capable of making and receiving calls and sending messages. The phone is housed in a red silicone case, identical to the one shown here. The iPhone 11 model was the first iPhone to use the U1 chip technology. This allows the iPhone to precisely locate and communicate with other U1 equipped Apple devices and provide precise tracking for AirTags. We have already stated we believe Jack's mobile never entered the water. That theory would appear to be substantiated by known facts, such as 9 minutes of data being downloaded at 04:39 a.m. In our second of two films, we will be revealing results of a test on this identical mobile by allowing it to enter the water, thereby disproving the police theory, we hope, that Jack accidentally entered the water with his possessions after an evening out drinking and partying with friends. Theory number 1. Jack was confirmed recognisable on CCTV at 03:08 a.m. near the car park on Smeaton Road. Did he simply decide to take his own life or accidentally enter the water? Let us assume this is what happened. You would then need to reconcile the following known facts. When his friend Faye, back at the party, called him at 03:30 a.m., a man answered. Faye says she believes it was Jack. However, the voice simply said, "Hello." The line then remained open for a further 52 seconds before disconnecting, apparently with absolutely nothing further being spoken by the man. As Jack had called Faye at 03:24 a.m, so literally 6 minutes earlier, he obviously had something to say to Faye. Therefore, why would Jack, if it was him, simply say hello and nothing else? If Jack suddenly decided not to go home as the taxi was booked, but to end his life, how did the following happen if he entered the water with his phone and all his possessions? 04:39 a.m, download of data lasting some 9 minutes begins. 05:40 a.m, Jack's phone on the Find Me app places it at a specific property on Granby Hill. 06:44 a.m., Jack's mobile finally shuts down. I understand from recovery experts where human bodies have entered water, the body will almost always surface by day 37. Now, 2 years since his disappearance, with no body or possessions having ever been recovered, this theory is a difficult one to accept. Theory number 2. At the graffiti area, did Jack have a confrontation with an unknown person or persons and enter the water? This graffiti area is extremely dangerous. It's a very unwelcoming area even during daylight hours. In the early hours of a morning, it must be one of the worst places to be. Evidence of drug taking, alcohol consumption, and rough sleeping are all highly visible. It is established that Jack was in this dangerous area, and I suspect, becoming aware there was someone or a group of people near to him, he sensibly thought of calling Faye. At least he could immediately raise the alarm if anything untoward was about to occur. Unfortunately for Jack, Faye did not answer his call. It is possible Jack entered the water. I believe this would have occurred between 03:24 and 03:30 a.m. That was in the 6 minutes between Jack attempting to call Faye and her not answering and her calling him back at 03:30 a.m. When Faye called Jack back, a man answered, apparently Jack. The voice simply said hello. The line did not go dead. The line remained open for a further 52 seconds, apparently with absolutely nothing further being said. Only then did the line disconnect. I suspect it was not Jack who answered the call from Faye. I don't believe Jack's phone has ever entered the water. Whilst there is no known evidence at the present time to support the theory of any third-party involvement, when all the known facts are considered, this theory cannot at the present time be excluded. Let us assume this is what happened. The following known facts would appear then to fit. 04:39 a.m. Forensic analysis of Jack's phone records confirm data lasting 9 minutes began to download to his phone. If the phone did enter the water at 03:30 a.m., it would at that point have been in the water for 1 hour and 9 minutes before the data started to download. My theory that Jack's phone never entered the water is confirmed by the known poor condition of his phone. It should be noted it is not impossible for an accidental triggering of data to start a download to a mobile phone if submerged in water. Forensics advice is it would depend upon a number of factors: the type of water, the temperature of the water, and the condition of the phone being the main given elements. Jack's phone was known to be in a very poor condition. The phone had a smashed screen. It was old. It was not capable of ringing. If this theory is correct, the following would need to be accepted. The water having caused the phone to start a download of data for 9 minutes would then also have had to have caused a disconnection 9 minutes later. If that happened, that would appear to suggest no other phone operation would have been possible, and the water and the poor condition of Jack's phone would have caused the phone to stop working completely at 04:48 a.m. We know that did not happen. The download started at 04:39 a.m. plus 9 minutes. So by 04:48 a.m., if the phone had entered the water and an accidental connection established, causing the data to be downloaded, this event would have completed by 04:48 a.m. 52 minutes after the download had stopped, at 05:40 a.m., Jack's phone places it at a specific address on Granby Hill. It could be counter-argued that the phone was never in the Granby Hill area and it was in the water all the time. That creates the following scenario. The phone enters the water most likely between 03:24 and 03:30 a.m. It then downloads 9 minutes of data starting at 04:39 a.m. The data download stops at 04:48 a.m. but the phone doesn't shut down until 06:44 a.m. The phone would therefore have been in the water for 3 hours and 14 minutes before shutting down at 06:44 a.m. A reasonable assumption is at 06:44 a.m. the phone battery had simply run flat, particularly bearing in mind Jack had not planned on going out the previous evening, only going out by persuasion. Therefore, quite reasonably, it can be concluded when he left home, his phone was not fully charged. I believe Jack may have entered the water between 03:24 and 03:30 a.m. without his phone. It was 3 hours and 14 minutes later before his phone finally shut down. That is a very long time for a seriously damaged phone to spend in water. The fact that Jack's body and no single item of his possessions known to be with him that evening have yet been recovered after 2 years is highly unusual. Theory number 3. Jack didn't like his life at home, in Bristol, or at university, so he left the area and started a new life in a town unknown. Why would he do this, when it was shown that he attempted to get into a taxi to take him home? There is no evidence whatsoever to support this theory. Quite the opposite. Jack seems to have been very close to his parents and brother, and as far as his education goes, his life at the University of Bristol, he was doing very well in his law conversion course and had been offered a position with a local Bristol law firm. Theory number 4. Let us assume that having visited the graffiti area for whatever reason, Jack then decided to make his way away from the water and back in the direction of Granby Hill, Clifton, or even going back to the party in Hotwells Road. We know that Jack's phone was working, so as he headed away from the water and in the direction of Clifton, why would he not have telephoned his brother, who lives in Clifton, or called at his brother's flat, or sent a further message to his mother? Or he could have called Faye back, who was still at the party. They were all options available to Jack. If we accept Jack did head in the direction of Clifton, the timings would be as follows. 03:25 a.m, possible CCTV of Jack on Plimsoll Bridge heading towards Bristol city centre. 03:39, possible CCTV of Jack walking along Bennett Way. 03:40, possible CCTV of Jack walking up Bennett Way slip road against the traffic heading towards Hotwells. 04:39, 9 minutes of data started downloading on Jack's phone. 05:38, someone is captured on CCTV on Hotwells Road, close to Granby Hill. There are no further known CCTV recordings. There is no activity on Jack's phone between 03:30 a.m. until 04:39 a.m. 05:40 a.m. Jack's phone placed him at a specific property on Granby Hill. 06:44, Jack's phone finally goes off air. At the present time, where Jack was after 03:40 a.m, where CCTV footage shows a person walking up Bennett Way Slip Road, and an hour later at 04:39, when significant data was downloaded to his phone, remains unknown. Would you be standing out in the street? Did Jack take refuge somewhere, maybe a church or someone's house or flat? He was not dressed for cold weather, only wearing a thin jacket. The weather in the area on Saturday the 2nd of March 2024, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m, was moderate rain with an air temperature of just 3 degrees Celsius. Jack had been drinking alcohol and had received a knock to his head after falling on the staircase at the party. He also had an exchange of words with an individual at the party, but this has been described as nothing very serious. I have always considered the possibility, if it is Jack on CCTV heading away from the water and towards Clifton, Hotwells area, perhaps he felt unwell and not well enough to walk the short distance to his brother's flat. If that was the case, we know at that time Jack's phone was still working, so he could have summoned help. But he didn't. The big question is, why not? I actually don't believe this was Jack.
I think for Jack's family to have gone through hell over the past 2 years, not knowing what's happened to their son, is completely unimaginable and every parent's worst nightmare. Big question is, what caused Jack to come down to this area at all? what caused him to change his mind. He was set on going home, he jumped into the taxi, and then something happened. He came to this area. Why? Why did you come here, Jack? As I record this final scene now, to close this first of our 2 videos on Jack's disappearance, as a parent myself, my heart goes out to Catherine and Alan, Jack's parents, and Jack's brother Ben. There's an answer to this case, and I hope that this film has at least brought attention to the fact that it was impossible for Jack to have left the party at 2:53 in the morning and then to have been seen in a different location that took him 3 minutes to walk to. So those 3 minutes are concerning, but the bigger concern is the difference in time that it takes to actually walk from the party area down to this graffiti area. There's at least 9 minutes at the bare minimum, and anything up to 20 minutes, depending on what time Jack left the party. If you say, for the sake of argument, that Jack left the party at 2:50 in the morning and not 2:53, that would place him at the swing bridge at 2:53, which ties in with the CCTV camera footage showing that those timings on that camera, on that recording system, was correct. So if he left the area, left the party at 2:50, it would only take him a maximum of 8 minutes to walk down here. So that immediately leaves a time difference of 10 minutes. And of course, if he left the party at 2:50 in the morning, that increases it even further. But it's just such a pity that nobody appears to have walked the route and timed it, and to have made these 2 separate discoveries concerning the loss of time. I can only hope that this film, in some very small way, may advance the case. Who knows, the private security firm that the family have recently had a report from, they may well have discovered the shortfalls in these 2 timings that I've outlined in this video today. Let us all hope that for the family of Jack O'Sullivan, it can be resolved in the very near future.